All right. Yo, yo. Hope that we're coming through all right. Sorry, the music's stopped. We're going to get that back up. Lovely. All right, cool. So, bear with me just a moment, guys. Can I do this? Okay, it's interesting. It's fine, actually. Right, I was just looking earlier at the IBM Carbon design system for some inspiration on theme, which is what we're working on today. Which should be interesting. Well, I say it should be interesting. I've actually been working on this quite a lot today, but it's just continuing the work I've done. But just gonna show what I've been working on anyway. But first, I guess before we get into any of that, I feel like this is also coming. I feel like my mic is coming in pretty hot. I'm just gonna adjust a little bit, get it back down to where it should be. Yeah, okay, that's a lot better, I think. Anyway, guess you guys can let me know. Right, so where we at? Not here. So basically, I'm just going to quickly go through stream goals. As always, it's always just good just to set some light goals for things that I want to cover and like achieve by the end of the stream. So we're working on Aura theme today. Anyone that's watching and doesn't know what I'm talking about, I'm currently building an open source design system. Started work on this a year ago now, and it was left, out in the wild for almost 10 months, I think, or maybe a bit more than 10 months. So I'm just getting back around to it now, and thought it'd be cool to live stream the process. Currently, actually getting back into it by starting off in design. So working a lot on Figma right now, doing a lot of like research into other systems, like also just playing around in Figma, doing a lot of R&D in that sense, and just using like the latest features like component properties and variants to really build like these components that are built with a much more kind of how would I say, like I suppose, yeah, component driven architecture. So there's more of a focus on the actual interface and how the components are consumed, which we're going to have a look at for anyone that's not familiar with that. But yeah, otherwise the aim really is to I need to update the theme. And I haven't updated this theme. I mean, I did it yesterday, but that was just to do with the colors, just some small change. But apart from that, I hadn't updated it, I think, in probably almost a year as well. So in that time, I learned, not learned a lot, but I would say like in terms of the theme, I think I've I've got a few different opinions on how I want to approach the theme in regards to the design tokens. So we're going to update those. And yeah, on the actual theme itself, we're going to include stuff like the radius, the different border radius, different border radii, the box shadows, spacing tokens, and things like that, which we're going to have a look at the work that's done so far. We've done typography and colors. And then, yeah, if we manage to get the theme all done and updated, then we will look at trying to create the rest of the color schemes for the icon and normal buttons. But yeah, that will probably come at the end. But what I'll do now is jump into Figma and show you actually, firstly, the new structure, because I don't know, it's very different. What I had initially was just like, and what you usually have, I guess what you usually see in Figma and what you're used to if you use like any of these UI kits and things that you can import as libraries, you'll typically see like just one. So instead of like, you can see I've got Aura UI / core here. This would usually just be Aura UI, right? Which is what we had before, and we had just all the components here. Right, so this is all like going to change actually. Going with a different approach to this, like I've been thinking about this for a while, and it was actually validated in a article I read. I cannot remember it for the life of me. I feel like it was a Smashing Magazine article, can't remember, but the person in the article was actually talking about like how you can approach creating these libraries on Figma in this similar way to like npm packages. And I thought, yes, that's like a really cool way, because I've been thinking a lot about like how we can apply more and more engineering practices to design tools like Figma. I mean, like Figma's new features are a testament to the fact that like in the design space, you know, we're moving more and more into this kind of like programmatic, like engineering sort of practice inspired methodologies and concepts. And so I was really curious to see like how far can we actually push that. And so part of the work that I'm doing here, which I'm going to show again, which I've been working on in the past streams, is like me basically pushing that as far as I feel it can go, at least on the component level. And like, I mean, I'm still really curious to see what like some obvious caveats to this might be. Right now, it's actually working pretty good, and I'm like pretty impressed actually with how well it's working and how I guess like robust the component is. So just to demonstrate, like all of like these 6 buttons, they're all part of one component. They're not like, so how do I explain this? Like they aren't 6 different buttons that you import. It's just one button that's been imported, and they all each have a similar interface on the right side here, which are categorized into variants, states, and properties. So the variants are, of course, like, you know, the kind of big high-level changes, such as like the shape of the button. So I've got it on sharp here. I can change this to rounded, and we've got a rounded button. I could make it a little bit smaller. I could decide that I actually want it to be solid, right? And you're getting this update, like the colors update, like everything's updating well. I might decide that I want to change the color scheme to gray, like pretty cool. States, I usually just brush over those because like we actually already have this working by default via the prototyping mechanism. So all of these variants actually under the hood, if we look down here, this is actually what they're looking like. So we've got this kind of what I call like a kind of like a hyperstructure, where you've got the base of each size here. And the reason why there's not just one base is because we might want to make changes individually for different sizes, right? So we want to have different paddings for the different sizes. And, you know, if you update one, it might update another one negatively. Like if you update medium padding, it might actually, you know, ruin it for the small button. So it kind of made sense to keep those separate. But what's really cool, and I'm just going to quickly go but like you can see as well, actually, like how cool this is in terms of, again, very close to this idea in code where, you know, you have this kind of single source of truth and you update this once and it updates everywhere, right? So if I remove this icon left, right, which I could have just called left icon, it's fine, then you can see all of these are going to disappear, which is really cool. So it's just really, like, it works really well in that sense. So like the way I see it with this kind of architecture is that we get the best of both worlds. Like we get on one hand this real like ability to be able to like update in one place and updates everywhere else. So this kind of thing that we're used to in code, and usually what we strive for anyway with like components themselves, right? You have a single instance and then you have like the kind of children, if you like, or the instances of that component that are then going to be updated when you update the base component. It's a similar idea here, just on a bit more of like a macro scale, because of course like we have like a whole structure here. So you've got the kind of base here, and then like here we have all the states that are defined. So this is where the magic is happening in terms of the prototyping. We have like our hover and active states, which are defined here. That's all that's going on. You can prototype with sections now, which is really cool. I'm really excited to try this out. And like what that actually looks like in practice is this. So you can see now, I can hover, I can click. This one is gone. Of course, because there's no thing set on it by default. There we go. Get you back. So we can see, like, we can hover on that. We can do that. So very cool. Like it's working pretty good. So really the next step for the components, like I said, we're going to do this later on, but the next step for these now is to actually create like a whole huge color scheme of all of these for users to choose from, which is actually, of course, defined on the interface. So when they come to use it, it will just be this bit here. So you'll have gray, violet, red, pink, blue, green, yellow, all of the colors that we have in the theme, which we're using from courtesy of Radix Colors, who have done a great job to create and provide some really good in-depth documentation on the usage of the colors, which we're following like very closely. But here's an example actually of how things are working. Nope, that's not here. So we've actually updated it, and I'm about to talk about the structure here. So this is what we've done so far on the icon button. So you can see really nice. We've got all the colors. We've got tomato, crimson, red, pink. We've got plum. We've got purple, violets coming. We'll have blue, green. All of the rest of the. I think I'm trying to remember how many colors there are in total. There's a lot basically, but it also means, it's a lot of choice for consumers, because of course this is an open design system. So the idea is just to have like as much customizability as makes sense without obviously things turning into chaos. But yeah, I think this is really cool to kind of have this kind of level of customization. And the kind of, what I'd say the gruesome bit of the work that's still yet to come is actually going to be, so we have to organize. This is the only bit I would say where it's like, or one of the only places where there's like real sort of hard manual work going on, which is where you have to organize the variants into, if I can find a programmatic way to do this, I'm going to definitely, try and get that to work. Otherwise, yeah, currently, the best kind of option right now is just to organize everything in here. But the nice thing is that you just have to do this once, right? And then you get this component where you can switch on the color scheme and have any color scheme you want. So it's all good. I'm gonna do it at a time where I'm really up for doing it, because like it is very like kind of samey. It's like, you've done it for this thing, you're gonna do it for the next one. It does get very boring very quickly. But like I said, we do it just once, so all good. But what I really wanted to look at right now is just how I split up the theme. So like I mentioned, we're actually taking this approach now where we're building out this library much more like you would an NPM package. So and actually mimicking the way it is existing in code, because of course we have like a monorepo, and so we have like so in the code at least, each component actually can be imported separately of the system, which is really cool. So like the nice thing about this is, of course, like it doesn't force anyone to have to install like the whole library just to use like one or two components if that's what they need. So it's just adapting for more use cases where people are wanting to gradually adopt maybe the components. So I thought actually this could be kind of helpful in design as well, especially considering like if you're working on a project where you've got like maybe using a couple of different libraries for different reasons. It might be a bit annoying to I mean, I don't know how big a problem it is, if I'm being completely honest, but like I think it just feels kind of like natural to me as a developer to kind of split the system up. And I hadn't had these thoughts before actually. I thought about like, yes, of course, the NPM thing that was mentioned in the article. I will find it in a bit and try and link it. So what we've got now, similar to what we do in code, is like this kind of core package, which basically is importing everything. But right now, this is just the old system. So like, what we're going to do is we're going to work on things separately. So like, we've got the form package, which is going to include all the form components. So that's another thing that I thought might be a good idea as well. Otherwise, like we'd have just probably way too many to keep track of. So I think it makes kind of more sense to segment it and just split it into like form. Split it into, I'm trying to think of the others. There's so many. Form layout, I don't know, data display, text, I guess typography, overlays, stuff like modals and dialogues. So yeah, it kind of makes sense to me to split it up like that, I guess. So right now, the core library is kind of being migrated into its like separate smaller kind of modules, if you want to call it that. So we've got this form one, like I mentioned, which is including the button and the icon button right now, but we've got a bunch more things to add to this, which I already started work on. So we've got the text field, which is, I think, mostly done. Just need to, again, organize these into like their variants. So it's not going to take a lot of work, to be honest, because there's not many of them. I did think a little bit about whether we wanted to have a color scheme for this, and I don't know if I've like landed on anything yet, but I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. Right now, I think, you know, it's cool just to keep it like this, but it might be beneficial just to have like a couple other colors. Could be cool. Input group, but this is still very much work in progress. Just trying to find the best way to build this one out. Cool thing about this though, is this a variant? No, it's not. Cool thing about this is like it's a bit messy, so just ignore like all of this stuff. So I can remove that, and I can say it has elements. So like you can just like swap things out, which is kind of cool, and you can do it from this top level. This is why I really love component properties, is that like you no longer have to dig deep into the component to like you know have this kind of like level of granularity with it. So it's pretty cool. So anyway, that's those, and then if we go into the form page, this is where we've had like, so this is what I did probably, I wouldn't say it's up to a year ago. I think it was probably about at least half a year ago. Again, like here was some previous work on the text field, which didn't go ahead. Some previous work on the input group, which I'm kind of continuing now. Yep, some old icon button stuff. And if you look as well, like this is kind of what I was doing back then, was like, like literally actually adding documentation around it, just because we didn't have the expressiveness to have those component properties that we could expose. So it was just like, that was the current way that I knew how to do it. Which is, yeah, it's just so interesting that we've kind of gone from that and have something much more, just much better. Yeah, we had the checkbox, which is done, which is like the base of this is pretty good. So I'm probably likely gonna mostly take that forward. Yeah, and probably use most of that because it's kind of cool. We had a little select experimentation, which was fun. Again, these are just mostly works in progress. Text area, that one's pretty good, so I think that's pretty good to go. Yeah, mostly the same with the radio buttons and yeah, the switch as well. So like we've got quite a few form components that we'll add to here as well. We'll just do this over the weekend. And yeah, other than that, icons, still working on those. Going to likely use maybe these radix ones to start, and then I think over time, like we might, yeah, I don't know. There's still a lot of thought around that area specifically about how we manage that. But yeah, here's the theme. So we've got some colors and typography, and let's take a look at the colors. So yeah, these colors. So these colors were actually courtesy of Pablo Olavariet. I hope I haven't butchered his name, but yeah, he basically put this together in Figma, and I just literally copy and pasted it because like it would have taken forever to do this. But what I did do is update the theme and import the updated colors, because before we just had we didn't have a light or dark mode, and the reason why this is useful is purely because when we are creating designs, right, like the cool thing that we have with Figma tokens right now, which people on the stream that have seen me work on this might recognize, is let me just demonstrate here. I'm just gonna go like a slate 1 or something. So we want to go, yeah, we want to go dark slate. Right, now this should work. It should, I think it should work. It should invert properly. I'm just being very cautious. I think we're good. I think we're good. As long as this isn't light. Yeah, okay, that's dark, and that's all. Okay, it's all dark. Cool. So it should work if we switch on dark mode. Yes, it inverts everything. Okay, cool. So the cool thing about this, which I'm about to show you, is this. So what we can have actually, and I'm actually going to keep it like this, but I'm just going to swap them around. So we've got light mode there, right? And all I need to do is the following. So I need to change this from dark slate 1, right, 2 light slate 1. Where are we? So before we didn't have this because we didn't structure it in this way. But now, like, we do. Was that light slate 2? And then light slate 7. And we want light slate 12. Sorry, I'm just gonna... Yeah. Doesn't really matter for this one. It's the same on light and dark, but let's just, let's just follow the good way to do things. Cool. So there we go. So as you can see now, we can see it in both light and dark mode, which is pretty cool. We didn't have this opportunity before because we only had like one set of tokens ever done. So now I can just call this like light mode, and I can just call this dark mode, which is pretty awesome. So now we can start to create, UIs. Like if you're not using the Figma tokens plugin, you can then, just create your UI and you can duplicate it once you're done with the light mode and just use the dark mode colors to invert. No, sorry, use the dark mode colors to invert them. The reason why it's flipped is because, so the reason why this is all saying light is because I flipped it. So if I go back on Figma tokens, maybe not the best way to do it, but I think it works fine. Don't really know. But yeah, if I go and take this off and go back to light mode, they just switch around. Like it's, it's more or less the same. So all good. Cool. But I think we had, I can never remember. I'm just gonna go dark mode first. And hope it hasn't broken everything. Yeah, no, we're good. I think it's specific to the file anyway, if I'm right. Okay, no, it's not. But anyway, hey, it looks great. Cool. Yeah, and here's the typography. So currently we're just using the Tailwind type scale. I've been, again, just in 2 or maybe 3 minds about this. There's a few different approaches that I've seen and just been going, like, having a little back and forth ping pong match in my head about what seems the right way to go. But currently, I think as much as we can, I think it's a good idea to push towards something that's familiar to developers when building this system. And I think something like Tailwind, like a lot of developers are using Tailwind, but I think the real benefit of this system, building on top of something like Radix, where you've got these, well thought out components that are, that are accessible by default, at least on a base level, of course, and having the additional kind of styling on top of them, because of course, like, styling is like another part of it, right? You have this unstyled component library, which is great for like teams that have a product and they have like their own design tokens and branding and they know how they're going to move forward with this. But like for your average developer that's working on a side project that just kind of wants to get going quickly but still wants something nice, this kind of system is really catering towards that. And so a lot of developers that are coming from something like Tailwind, it kind of feels right to try and at least at the design token level try as much as we can to have some kind of synergy with that, so it feels familiar, I guess. There's not too much like overhead of this new kind of system, new like font sizes and things. So yeah, I don't know. I'm currently swaying a bit more to that right now. But another thought was that, like, if I did want to have some of like my own opinions on here about how things like the type scale and spacing scale should look, just from like working at Seigel, for example, and the design system that we use there, then like I could still do that. And I think the really wonderful thing about using stitches, which is the underlying CSS architecture behind Aura UI, the really awesome thing about it is that like it's super composable. So you could actually like almost enable, I think this would probably just mostly happen by default, but you could enable the consumers of this to basically switch out the theme. So like if they wanted, so like the cool thing that I would really hope to see happen, and what I might even try and build after the kind of base is done, is to kind of build like a Tailwind plugin, perhaps, at least for the colors. I mean, I haven't decided on the fonts yet. If we don't go with this, then I'll do it for the fonts as well. But obviously, we're not using Tailwind colors. But what would be really cool is to have like this plugin where basically, if someone wants to use those Tailwind colors, they can just basically like import them with this plugin, and it will just automatically replace the colors that we define here with the Tailwind ones, which would be pretty cool. So yeah, I mean, there's tons of different things you can do, but like the main idea is that it's super composable stitches, and so therefore like Aura is also very composable. So that's the theme so far. What we want to get is we want to update the theme tokens. So right now, let's have a look at the tokens, and the reason this is really is just to have the styles kind of like embedded in this theme module, so that you can see what the different kind of, for example, the spacing scale, you can see that clearly, like the different rate, like the radii will be shown clearly, and the border radius as well. So right now, let me just close down color. So right now, yeah, this is what needs to get updated. So I've changed my kind of positioning on how I kind of see radius, for example. So we have like XS, SM. So I feel like it's much better with these, at least in this system, in terms of consistency, to have like a consistent system for that. And what I've landed on is just to go by numbers. It's what we've been doing at Seigel. Like for me personally, I really quite like it, for particularly for numeric values. So for things like border radius, for font sizes, line height, space tokens. What else? Yeah, I think that's most of them really. Yeah, I really like to do. I mean, like it's actually it's done here. It's done down here already. So it kind of just makes sense that actually we need to continue that consistency also in the border radius. So I mean, like I can either do it here or I can do it in the code. I think it might be better for me to kind of do it here, because I can show you the code for it. It's kind of cool though, the way it's working. So like this is the code, and this is our tokens.js. So this is what our components get basically saved as, and it's just a huge JSON file, which is like representing all the tokens. Now, of course, like you can actually, do something here where you can use style. I think it's style dictionary. And you can actually end up having different outputs. So I'm pretty sure you can create like a theme for style components for this. You can, I think someone found a way to do it for stitches, I think. So that's, another really cool thing. So yeah, it's really cool that you have this kind of, and this is all done through the plugin. So the way it's working is that it works with Git. You can actually push and pull to the repository. So you can see that's the branch that I'm on right now, which is really cool. So like I can go to my settings here, and I can like hit edit, and you can see my personal access token there. So yeah, you can see here that like in order obviously to push to it, you have to have the access token. But the cool thing is that you don't need the access token to pull from it. So if any users wanted to actually like pull the theme in to use it directly, because of course like you can create styles. So one thing that you get like within Figma, which is cool directly, is all of the color styles and all the text styles and the shadows as well. But of course you don't get things like spacing tokens and sizing and border radius and all of those things, at least not yet. So what's cool is that like if somebody wants to actually like enforce them, because one thing to know about this plugin that I think like I didn't grasp at first is that like it's almost like in a way, in a sense, it's almost like it hard codes. So like if you put this on a component and you try to override it, to be honest, actually, I'm trying to remember now if this just happened for color, because I later figured out there's an issue with Figma and colors and like basically creating basically prototyping when you've updated the color of a component where the color's already been set is a bit of an issue in Figma. I spoke about this in the last stream. But I think it's the same for stuff like on this plugin, for example, if I set something to medium and then I try to, I don't know, update it later on, I think it somehow reverts. Like, it basically uses this as a single source of truth, if that makes sense. So like, what I'm trying to say is just use this with caution. If you have some component that you want to be a bit more flexible, probably best to just do that within the Figma editor and not the plugin, basically. So what I want to do here is update these. So full we can still have, because, like, you know, or we can just put it as round. Round might make a bit more sense. Full, round. But basically what we want to do is want to edit this token. I'm just going to call it 1. I'm just going to make it 4px. Yeah, sure, there's nothing using it, so we're good. And then we've got 2, so 2 is going to be 6, which is what the buttons and inputs are using. So kind of most smaller components will be kind of using this as a base. So 3 is 8. And then I believe 4 is like 12. And this one is 16. And typically after that, yeah, we don't really have like we just have full. We'll leave it full for now, we might change. So we've got an issue with this and I can't really remember what it is. So that you can see now that we have updates, you've got this little blue notification up above the push, which is really cool. So we can push that up once that's all good. But right now, I think we're all right. All right. I'm just gonna close this for a second. Right. Sorry, my bad. Just cycling through. Right, okay, so right. Where are we at? Yeah, so I think I'm pretty happy with this. So what I want to do now is I want to push the changes I've just made. So I can push to GitHub and we can enter a commit message. So this is really awesome. Like, it's such a cool experience. So I can just enter a commit message, make it semantic. So I'm just going to say feet, update border radius, or actually no, sorry, radii tokens. To use numbered steps. Cool. That's it. That's all we need to do. We can just push that there and just wait for that to be done. Lovely. Change the push to GitHub now. We can create a pull request, which is really cool, and it actually goes through to the link. So this is actually like really cool. So yeah, that's pretty cool. You can create a pull request for it. Like, pretty awesome. And I've just like dubbed myself in here, but it's fine. I'll sort this out later. So yeah, that's pretty awesome. So like that's just so that we can update it in code, of course. So when other people pull it down, changes will be there as well. But we've got it in the plugin, so we can kind of go ahead and what we can do is just create like a new page, which is going to be called. I guess yeah, we just call it radar. We're just gonna do. Yeah, let's do light. So what I want to do right now is just create like a. Maybe too much. Don't need like a big thing. Light slate. Maybe we switch this around. I don't know. So I think we're on dark mode, right? Yes, we are. Actually, I think we'll see the shadow better if we're let's get rid of that. Oh, actually, you know what? Let's not do that. Let's instead do like that. Okay, that's better. So you just want to create like, just put them 40 apart. I think we've got like 5. No, I keep forgetting it's not a. I keep thinking I'm doing border shadow, but it's not. It's not. Can you? No, okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, okay, we're good. We're good. So what? Literally, all I need to do here is one thing, literally, and that's just to. Well, not one thing, but like. It's literally just to go down to border radius and just select that. But no, because that's going to do everything. That's not what we want. Oh no, it is actually, it is. Sorry, I'm thinking that it was the it was something else. So as you can see, it's pretty neat. It's pretty neat. Okay. And we're just going to add some text, just for the context. For and we're going to try and just be using the design system now. So we'll just use, I think, something like this. What are we? So 1, maybe below. So here, actually, let's do slate 12. In here, normal and like, ooh. And in here, it's like it's 4px, right? So something like that. It's just simple. Okay, nice. Nope. Okay, got 2 there, and that's 8. Cool. Three. We definitely have to rearrange this one, I think. I think we're good. 4, which is 16. No, I've messed up. Let's do another one there. We'll fix it in a second. So we need to use this. Nope, that's not what I wanted to do. That's what I wanted to do. All right. And then this last one is full. I think it's 9999px, something like that. Okay. Okay, simple. Let's just make this a bit smaller as well. I just want it a bit more compact, to be honest. Okay, now that's a little bit claustrophobic. My bad, my bad. Okay, that'll do. Yeah, that's cool. You said radar. Nice. Okay. Works well. Shadows I'm gonna probably come back to and do another time because there's some stuff to sort out there, which I need to look at in the plugin. So I'm gonna investigate that separately. But otherwise, yeah, generally it's all good. Yeah, I think this is like the right way around. Okay. Cool, cool, cool. So what else do we need to do? So we've updated the theme as we needed to. There's still some more updates to do, but at least we've done that for now. Added the radii. Box shadow we're going to come back to. Spacing tokens we can give a go. I actually have something for this in another project, which it's a side project I'm currently working on. Won't share too much now, but yeah, definitely will in future streams. Okay, so let's do spacing. So this is cool, but I think what I'm gonna do, put this. Okay, that's not working. How exactly is this working? Okay. Ah, okay, I know how to do it. One. Is that right? Maybe we just do it like this. Then we don't see. Kind of looks cool though. So I think before we, I'm going to try and remember how we did it, but for now, let me just kind of go and renumber. Oh. Nine. We have way more than this though. Okay, but it's really weird. It's like not letting us select that. There we go. Okay, we're trying to push all this to that side. Yeah, it looks neat. Looks nice. Except we don't really want. We definitely don't have these colors anymore. Yeah, let's just make it slate like 1 or 2. Okay. It's cool. Okay. So. Okay. I have no clue why it's like that. No, can't have contents. Right. Okay. Ah, I see. Okay. So I think, if I remember rightly, yeah. So we've got this like rectangle. And how did we decide? Ah, I think it's the padding left. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. To be honest, I think actually. We might have got it. We might have followed it. Yep. Yep. Okay. Maybe we're going to include PX. I think I'm going to go up to 32 to be honest. Again, come back to this question though, do we just keep the tailwind spacing themes? I don't know. But if we go with this idea of, allowing plugins, then it can always be extended, I guess. Right now, I just feel like, yeah, it's maybe a bit too extensive without. If I actually go back, yeah, so I can see 80, so 12 is 80. So that's not true. Okay, so there's like a couple of things. So 8 being 32, which I think is right. 9 being 36. Which is correct. 10's 40. Okay, so I think this is where it changes. I think 11 becomes like 64 or something. Which obviously isn't. It's because, there is no 11. So what we do is we swap these. Oh, they're not in a... There we go. Yeah. We actually make this 14 instead. And we actually make... So it's padding left. Left. Is that right? I think I'm sizing the wrong thing. Wait, let's see what happens. Oh, right. Gotcha. No, that makes sense. That makes total sense. Oh my gosh. That's not what we want, man. Okay. Okay, that's what we want. And 12 needs to be 12. Nope. Right. Beautiful. Okay, now we're talking. Just gonna duplicate that. we're now on 16. So I'm gonna do this one first, just because. But yeah, we will need to have excuse me, we'll need to have something which we can show the pixels, just so that it's very easy to see. Because right now it's not really all that clear, and it's not great. That's the case. So the nice thing about hard coding these in is that if we change these even in, like, let's say we go to VS Code, right, and we change like the spacing tokens wherever they are, let's just pretend they're here, we do blah blah blah, you know, you move some stuff around, blah blah blah, and then we like push to GitHub, and then we come back to Figma and we pull those tokens in, and like any of these have updates, because we've pinned the value to them, they're just going to update naturally. It's so cool. I really love this idea. Like, again, it's like just becoming more and more automated, like much easier, less manual work. So I'm a big fan of this tool. If you haven't noticed that already, so I just think it's really great, like to have that. Yeah, okay, we're good. 24, 28, and then 32. That's all we're gonna do for now. Need to be careful there. Yeah, that's all we're gonna do for now, and then oh gosh, come on. $28, $32. There we go. Right, I think that looks great. It's awesome. Nice to do like a little gradient, but we don't really have so much time for it. Anyway, so what I need to do now is actually just do this for everything, because like I said, we need to actually like update. So none of these are going to change, but like at least now we actually have the tokens properly attached to them and attributed to them, so that like they can be programmatically updated if they need be at any point. If we need to change these values, like I said, we can do so either in the plugin or in the code, and once those updates are like validated, so on the code side, once they're validated on GitHub and new tokens are pulled in, it's going to update automatically, which is just so cool. So let's just finish up the rest of this, and then we'll look at, I think, potentially wrapping up. But it's been pretty good to just get going with the new structure and the theme, and I think now we can start to push a bit quicker and get closer to code again. Like over the weekend, my aim personally is to just figure out the last kind of little issues. Okay, so we've done that. So the last little issues in code, we basically in the middle of migrating the monorepo from Yarn and Learner to like Turbo Repo and PNPM. So it's like a complete switch, which is it's pretty exciting though, to be using like this new, faster, better tooling. And yeah, once all that's figured out, like it's mostly done. It's just like one or two things to iron out in terms of the fixes. And once we're all good with that, yeah, we're back to development, I think, really. And so that will be kind of be like a back and forth between design and dev at that point. But right now, like we've kind of got enough to kind of get going on the development again. So yeah, it will probably be a few like late evenings during the week to work on this sort of after working hours, to just focus on pushing, you know, those base components, and then yeah, moving ever so closer to the kind of, I would say, loose target of having a beta ready at the start of the new year. That would be a really cool way to go into 2023, would be to have the beta of Aura UI ready. But we're gonna we're going to see how we go. Um, I think it's probably more likely that we'll have some kind of alpha version, but it'd be nice just to have something out that people can start testing out and using. Um, while it's in its experimental phase, and the kind of API will still likely be unstable, but for the most part, just because we are building on top of other tools, like for those components at least, we know that there's guarantee that those parts of it are going to be stable, because we're not really fundamentally changing anything in regards to. We're not changing much in terms of the API, but of course there's always opportunity for breaking changes where you're adding your own kind of logic like on top. But of course we're doing that for customizability, so it's definitely like necessary, I think. Anyhow, spacing is done. We've done radar as well, which is cool. This is also done. Typography is done, and the colors are also done. So, got another thing to tick off. Like I said, box shadows coming back to doing this. So I can say, we'll just tick it off for today's stream. So nice, we got 2 out of 3. And then the last thing, which I think we may just leave it here, but like the next thing would be to. But like I said, this is kind of just more tedious work. So I think maybe I'll just find some time. Who knows? I might stay up late tonight and do it, and have something to show you guys over the weekend. We'll aim to get another stream, and I think before the end of the weekend, maybe tomorrow, maybe Sunday night, depending on how things go, and if I don't get busy with like any of the other projects and things I have going on right now. But yeah. This is the aim, really. It's just to get the rest of the color theme in here. Same with this button. We don't really have much here, but after this point, the aim is just to. So the form components will be the first to ship, basically. Same with the dev stuff, and as well as layout. But so the idea generally. Is to get the rest of the form components in. So like I showed earlier, the checkbox, the radio, the switch, and any other of the components that we'll need. And then once that's done, we can start to kind of push on to what I would say. And it's not that I find form components boring, but like I'm always excited to work on like the more kind of bigger, slightly more complex things like. Drop down menus and like dialogues, because like this is where you can really like make you can really push the limits of this component properties architecture, and this idea of like slots and pseudo slots. For example, with like cards, you can have like, I was just watching a video that was actually published by Figma like not too long ago, with this idea of pseudo slots, where you've got like a card, you've got 5 pseudo slots, which obviously has the text on it, like replace me, of course. But then you can replace them with like, lots of different content. You can have, this big flashy visual image, and then under that you can have like the card title, and then the card description, and then maybe like a button that's leading somewhere if it's like an article. Like it's just really cool stuff like that. I'm excited to get working on in this system. So I still I kind of find this to be like the nitty gritty stuff, but like we need it to get out of the way because it's just the base of the system. So I'd say we're mostly there now. Just need to finalize the decisions on typography, need to figure out the box shadow stuff. Otherwise, and the icons as well. We need to think of a good way. What I want to do, I think, early on right now is just like, so I've got this, I think this is feather icons, which I made the decision to use like a little while ago. I was using Radix at first, and then I switched to this. But I'm having the feeling maybe just to either switch back to Radix, or even have like a simplified version of this where we're just using like very, very minimal components, just to make it easier to track different sizes, because the idea with the components, I don't know where I'm going here. The idea basically is to create this kind of component architecture where I'm going to show you the general idea. I want to do it with like a plus icon if I can, just because like that's what was on the buttons. I cannot find it. Find plus. No, just plus. So if I like do this, oh, he's lost him. Right, so like what I want to be able to do, let's just 15, is to be able to have different sizes of like these icons. So like when we're using components, you can just very easily a general idea, yeah, is to have like, just don't feel like those are in line. I might be wrong. So yeah, general idea would be to have like 3 sizes for like each component. And as you can imagine, like if we have a huge component set like this, like that's kind of a bit of work. Like you could do this quite quickly, right? For some reason, have I locked it? Maybe because I'm still in find. No, I haven't. It's just for some reason not moving. Okay. Nope. It's definitely not what I wanted to do. So what I could do is this. The problem, actually, no, I can't do this because the problem is I don't think they're all equally. I mean, we could see what happens if I do this. Let's make this 18. You know, it kind of works actually. So it's like a, it's like a sure enough, like straightforward way to do it, but yeah, I don't know. It doesn't, because like the problem is that you still have to basically like organize them into variants, which is like no easy feat because they have to be within the same frame, basically the same variant component frame, which is not the easiest thing to do where you have like so many components like this. But yeah, in any case, find a way to the best way to push forward with the icons. But the general idea is that I think it's good to have some different icon sizes, like 3 base sizes, as we do with most things. Could be beneficial. Anyway, yeah, I'm pretty happy to leave things here. So it's been, yeah, just past an hour and done some fairly progressive work. Yeah, just showing as well the restructuring of our new system. So as we can see here, I mean, you know, we've got this new kind of view here, and we're going to kind of get some nice covers and stuff on here, so it looks like much nicer. And then, like I said, we'll have the core library that's importing everything. But I just quite like the idea that we have these smaller modules that just so like everything will pretty much consume the theme because they're going to need the colors from it. I'm going to remove the colors from core, and we have much more of like this kind of yeah, code, like npm style structure. But either way, yeah, we'll leave things here and pick them back up either tomorrow or hopefully Sunday. We'll see how things go, but most likely I think it'll be Sunday evening. It'll be the next stream. Probably do YouTube again. I'm just going to keep pushing and seeing how I find it. It's going pretty well so far. So anyway, thank you to all that have watched. This has been more work on Aura UI. We will keep on working on this probably for at least the next couple of streams. But after that, yeah, got some exciting stuff as I'll be redoing the portfolio. So pretty excited to show that stuff. We'll definitely do like a little bit of live streaming around building that and some approaches I'm taking. And yeah, more after that. So thank you guys and take care. Peace.